Just for a second, I want you to imagine getting some money back after you go to the store and you get a $5 bill back and you notice that the bill looks a bit different, but you don't really think too much of it and you spend it, and then you watch one of my videos and you realize that what you just spent was worth a lot more money than just $5. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down $5 bills that sold for a lot of money that you don't want to accidentally spend, because you could have $5 bills that are worth tons of money. So by now, most people understand what a star note is, but I'm going to break it down really quickly. So this $5 bill from 1934 has a star on it. This note sold for $1,920. I'm going to tell you exactly why right now. So on the left side of the bill, you'll see that B letter, and also you'll see the B at the start of the serial number. Depending on what letter you have there will depend on where the banknote was produced for what district. B stands for the New York district, and the main reason why this note sold for so much money is because there's that star after the serial number, and also this one was graded by PMG, a 66 EPQ. Remember, the highest grade we can achieve in grading is 70, so this is uncirculated. That means there is no folds or bends or anything serious on the note whatsoever. For a bill to be from 1934 and be in this good of condition is incredibly rare. Now, what does the star mean really quickly? So when they're producing these banknotes, they're produced in sheets. Sometimes these big sheets of notes will have an error on them, or they were produced strangely, or there's something that does not pass the quality control metrics. So what they do is they scrap the sheet, they destroy the sheet, and they change the serial number and they put a star at the end. And the reason they do this is for bookkeeping purposes, to make sure that there is nothing bad happening. Essentially, if they destroy a sheet of banknotes, they need to produce another sheet, and just to make sure they're doing it properly, they put the star on there. It's just for them to know that, hey, there was a big mistake on this run of notes and we produced some star notes. And what's important to know is that depending on the run of bills that are produced, sometimes there are more or less of these star notes produced. If there are less star notes produced for a specific run, remember, it's a simple supply and demand. If there are less of them out there, they're probably going to be worth more money. Also, very important to know that the first date they made these small size $5 Federal Reserve notes was in 1928. So this is a very old bill here. And for it to be in this good a condition and it be a replacement or a star note, all these things combined allowed it to sell for $1,920. Not going to spend too much time here, but what you need to know about this bill is that if you come across any $5 bill that looks like this, you want to look at the serial number. If the serial number looks good like this and it has a rare serial number, you could have a note worth a lot of money. This one sold for $3,120 because it graded very highly by PMG, and also it has the solid number 3 serial number. This note sold for $3,795, and what you need to understand about this note is that, one, you will see immediately that there is some red markings on this bill. This is what's considered to be a specimen note. Without boring you too much, essentially the BEP produces specimen notes to give to banks and other countries to say, hey, this is what our bills look like, this is the proper printing techniques, this is what the bills feel like. They essentially give these to banks so they can have a example on hand to see what the note should look like in case someone gives them a note and it looks off something strange. The chances of you finding this in circulation is slim to none. They would immediately get picked out of circulation. But if you come across one of these in a collection and it says specimen on it, you could have a bill worth a lot of money. Also, you have to watch out for someone maybe getting a stamp and trying to do this themselves. Defacing a Federal Reserve note like this is highly illegal from my knowledge. You don't want to put any sort of writing, but there are some shady people out there that will try to increase the value, because again, this note sold for $3,795 simply because it's a specimen note. So imagine someone goes out there, they get a small little specimen stamp with some red ink, they slap it on a couple bills and try to sell it as a specimen note. People pay a lot of money for these specimen notes, but a way to tell if you have a true specimen note is most of the time the serial number, which is the letters and numbers, are going to be a fancy serial number as well. So remember, by fancy serial number, I mean you can see this serial number here is an ascending ladder. It goes from 2, 3, 4, all the way to 9 consecutively. Sometimes specimen notes will not have any serial number. Sometimes they will be a solid serial number. Sometimes it'll be a bunch of zeros. Whatever the case is, if you have a bill that has a specimen stamp anywhere on the bill, you want to be highly suspicious and cautious before you just spend it or give it away or sell it, because they could be worth thousands of dollars just like this bill. So this just goes to show that even if your bill is not in the best condition, like this one, graded by PCGS, a very fine 20, it could still be worth a lot of money, because this one sold for $4,230. I'm going to tell you right now why it sold for so much money. So as I said before, 1928 was the first date they produced any small size bills like this. This is also considered to be a numeral type. And again, not to bore you with too much details, but if you look on the left side of the bill, you'll see a large number 5 in the district there. You're also going to see 4 separate 5s around the bill. This is the district of Richmond, Virginia, which also stands for the E. You can see the E there at the start of the serial number is the district for this note. Again, depending on how many were produced for the specific print run will depend on how rare and scarce these bills really are. On top of that, this is a star note. We talked about that already, but it's so fun to think that if you found this bill in really good condition, I mean, just imagine if this didn't have any folds or dents or dings or stains whatsoever, this bill would be worth so much more money simply because the quantity of them out there is such a small amount. And if you found a bill like this, even in low graded condition, it's going to bring good money because this note in the very fine 20 condition sold for $4,230. Here's something really interesting. So this 2017 bill sold for $6,600, and the main reason being is you can see that this graded at the perfect grade of 70, and it's also a star note, and it has the star designation. Something important to know is that the star at the end of the grade there is a designation given by grading companies to say that the note is really nice for the grade. You can get the star designation pretty much, I believe it's anywhere from the grade of 20 all the way to 70. Also, if you get the 70 grade for PMG, you automatically get the star. That is something that just comes with the territory of getting a perfect grade for the specific grading company. But the combination of the date, it's a modern bill, the fact that it is a star note, it's a replacement note, and it graded at the perfect grade of 70, it allowed it to sell for $6,600. Now, really quickly, if you want to invest, this is not financial advice whatsoever, but I would highly advise against ever buying a modern bill like this, regardless of the grade. This is a very big gamble that the person did when they bought this bill. I would not pay this much money for a bill like this no matter what, unless it was a very old bill where you know that the price would probably go up over time. Now, yeah, sure, maybe in the future, in the next 5 to 50 years, I could see this bill going up in value, but because it's so modern, you're really taking a huge risk when it comes to the value of the bill going up over time. Another relatively modern bill is a 2009 $5 bill. Not going to spend a ton of time. It sold for $9,400 simply because it is a serial number 1 bill. I guess it's also fair to say that, look, if this bill was circulated and it had a bunch of tears, dirty, folds, etc., it would bring less money than $9,400, but that serial number 1 on the bill is what really increases the value dramatically for this specific type of bill. So this is one you really need to keep an eye out for. So this is a 1950 Federal Reserve note, and the reason why this note sold for $19,550 is because it is a wide 2. Now, I'm going to go over this as quickly as I can. Essentially, the 1950 Federal Reserve series was a time that they were transitioning from a 12 subject sheet into an 18 subject sheet, and by that I mean these bills were printed on a sheet of 12, and they were trying to produce more of these bills, so they transitioned into the 18 sheet subject. Essentially, the slight narrowing of the design elements on the note was necessary to provide more room for new notes on the sheet. So what they did was they made everything more narrow on the sheet, and that allowed for more room and a lot less waste. And what you really need to be looking out for here is if you flip the note over on the back, you're going to see a small little number on the back bottom right hand side of the bill. So what you need to know is that's called the back plate number. Essentially, it just shows the type of printing plate that they were using for that specific sheet. What you need to know is that if you have a wide 2, which this note is, this is the one you want to be looking for. If your back plate number is 2067 or higher, you have a wide 2. If you have a back plate number of 2008 up to 2066, you have a narrow back plate. If you have a back plate number from 2007 or lower, then you have a wide 1 back plate. Now, to put things into perspective, there was recently a wide 1, same exact bill that you see here, 1950 bill, but that wide 1 graded 2 points higher, so it's a better condition note. It sold for $1,200 because it's a wide 1. This one is considered to be a wide 2, and it graded 2 points lower, and it sold for almost $20,000. So that smallest little detail there is the reason why this note sold for so much money. Pretty similar looking note here, but this one is from 1928, not 1950. And remember, 1928 was the first year they ever produced these bills. This one is from the Atlanta district. You can see that 6 there on the left hand side, and also the F letter before the serial number. It's also a star note, and it also has a pretty cool serial number. You've only got 0s, 2s, and 5s in that serial number. This one graded very highly by PMG at a 66, and that's why it sold for $19,975. So what you need to know about this bill is that it is from 1928, and it has the C letter there after the date. That is an incredibly rare thing to come across for these $5 bills, and that's what allowed it to sell for $26,450. So regardless of the grade of your note, if you have a 1928 C bill like this, you could have a note that's worth a ton of money. Hit that subscribe button. Really just help out. Stay tuned for more. I'll see you in the next video.